Live from the Cactus Creek at Ibri, he is the king of prime time, Ghana's undisputed entertainment laureate, and still the youngest old man in Ghana. Put your hands together, show some love for the indefatigable KSM.
The KSM Show.
We're back. Of course, we are right here, and we are continuing where we left off the last time. So, Doc, one more time. There we go. Another one. There we go. So we are here with Dr. Nyaho Tamakloe. We're taking a break. When we come back, we're going to continue, and it's even going to be better. We have done a lot of historical things. Now we're going contemporary. Sit around. We'll be right back.
The KSM Show.
Is it the luxurious rooms? Or the serene green surroundings? Is it the tempting swimming pool? Or the classy conference room? Or the cute gift shop? Maybe it's our chef's array of cooking delights. Whichever way, it's all about Cactus Creek. A most respected hotel. 055 039 5007.
The KSM Show.
Doc, thank you so much for that time. There's so many things you have said that I have decided that I'm going to come back at a certain time and sit down with you just to pick up some education that I know I lack and many people also do lack. But today, the last time we talked about the past stuff, you know, your prison days and all the other information that you gave us. But I want to come to contemporary stuff now. You know, I know you're a founding member of the MPP.
That's right.
I even asked you, how did you, and in Nkrumah is being a founding member of the MPP, and you gave me a very interesting answer. But yeah, so you were a founding member of the MPP.
That's right.
And the MPP is in power, but it is no secret that you have your disagreements with the party now. I remember the last time we talked about certain people that were in the MPP that you respected, that Rocha, Aran Ponsa. You gave me certain names, G.H. Mensah, you know, Odoy Sykes. And you think that caliber of people are no longer in the forefront of the party, and is it because their time is past, or what?
Well, their time is past, but the tradition should continue.
The tradition being?
Integrity, love for the country, not for oneself, rule of law, and then a free judiciary. These are things that we lack now.
Integrity, rule of law,
lack
of country, and a free judiciary. We are lacking these things now.
Lacking. And that is why it appears we keep on going forward and backward, You follow me? And also, you see, I have known Nana Addo for years. But what really brought the difference between me and him was when, under his leadership, and then we have already made him leader of the party, but not president, as a leader of the party. Of course, naturally he becomes the presidential candidate. But when we were having an election in Tamale to elect new executive, I'm talking about national chairman, his deputies, general secretary, and other executive positions. And everything was made possible that Paul Afoko should not be part of that particular election. But finally, Paul Afoko was part of the elections. And he won the elections. He won it. Mind you, he wasn't appointed. He was elected by the people, the will of the people of the party. And yet, they found ways and means to move him out. That was when I said, my friend Nana Addo is not the Nana Addo that I know anymore.
Mm. Who was the Nana Addo that you knew?
Oh, Nana Addo that I knew was simple, straight to the point. I'm not the only one who has known Nana Addo. We're all friends, people like the Reynolds, he knows them, Reynolds, Baxmatis, Face and others, you know. That's the Nana Addo that you know, the Pra brothers and sisters, and others. We've been with Nana Addo for years. To me, what the person we have now in the Flagstaff House is not the Nana Addo that I know. I'm being frank with you.
And what do you think could have caused the change? How was it? Was he like that and you didn't know? Or something has caused him to change direction,
Look,
in your view?
I could have put my head on the block for Nana Addo when it comes to honesty. At that time. Are you listening to me?
Yeah.
And Nana Addo knew and he knows that one of the biggest problems facing this country is dishonesty, which you people call, what was the word you used?
The 419.
Corruption.
What?
Corruption. It's dishonesty. So I can't believe under his leadership, there will be numerous infractions and he won't take action. So when I said the Nana Addo that I knew is not the one there, this is one example. I mean, numerous. Even recently, look at this, is it SLM or whatever you call it? He gave it to KMPG or whatever you call them. I mean, you have been presented with a report. Why don't you make it public? So we know exactly what happened. And even that, a professor from the university had to write to the Flagstaff House about that before they gave him the information. You follow me? And we have a lot of examples. A lot of examples.
Yeah, yeah. Let me pick your brains on this. I remember in the last episode you talked about people with integrity. You talked about, who was it you mentioned? They paid him and he said, no, this must be a mistake. There's too much money here.
Oh, yes. I made mention of J. Brahma.
J. Brahma. And he returned the money.
And recently, Togbe Afede.
Togbe Afede. But my question is this. Has the tide changed? Because now Togbe Afede and Brahma, they are more like the exception to the rule. The rule is, Chale, this is it to get what you want and get out. That almost seems to be the rule now.
But that is where I feel so sorry.
Yeah.
Because to have Nana Addo there, I thought these things would never be talked about.
The rule never be.
What? Look, I'll cross it with one example to see. There are people, or there have been somebody in this country who resigned from government position as a minister on principle. You know the person. First, that I was even a student then.
Resigned on principle. Remind me.
You've heard the name KG Osebozo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
KG, this a wonderful thing. On principle, when the NLC was in power, headed by General Angra, the council took a decision without he, the minister, being informed. You see, these are the type of people I want to work with.
And based on that, his integrity said, I'm resigning. I won't be a part of this.
And you know, his case is very interesting. Let me narrate it to you. KG, and it's interesting, the journalist that was then involved was Cameron Dodo. Cameron, in those days, apartheid was just something that no one really wants to hear about. And I think Cameron wrote a strong no, Buzia went out to talk about apartheid, where as if they should be talked to or something.
Yeah,
I think Cameron came out
dialogue.
with dialogue with
Yeah.
apartheid. And Cameron came out with a strong, what do you call it, opinion against that. And based on that, they sacked Cameron as the editor of the Daily Graphic, without the knowledge of the minister in charge of the ministry. KG wrote his letter of resignation. Can you believe it? He was a young lawyer then. Young lawyer, not today where you see young people chasing money or begging for money, bribery and corruption. KG was a young lawyer. He could have done anything. KG wrote to the head of state that he's resigning, he can't work with him again. Head of state couldn't believe it. You know soldiers in the way we behave. So he summoned KG to his office. KG went there and said, look, young man, is this letter coming from me? He said, yes, sir.
Are you
I
resigning?
said, are you resigning? He said, yes, sir. I can no more work with you. As a minister, you take a decision without me? No. And KG, Ankara thought KG was joking. He left.
So, Doc, my question is this. Are we not to say, oh, those were the days when integrity meant something? These days, it doesn't mean anything. With all respect, people who even exhibit that may be insulted. You know, like Toby Afede. Now it is kind of my uncle D. You know, so is it a sign of the times that people are now looking down on otherwise people would have considered respectable? Is that the case now?
You see, the point we have now that is very disturbing is that we have a lot of young people just doing social science, investing, then jumping into politics. And their number one objective is to make money.
Yeah.
That is the cause of the problem. But if a party will have a good leader, such people will be raked out within a minute. And that will strengthen not only the party, but the political position of the country.
So you're saying the kind of leadership could change that attitude?
Absolutely, it's leadership. It's a leader. And I keep on saying it is a leader. If the leader can be straightforward, call a spade, say, look, this is a report I've had, I've gone into it. And even hand him over to the police for investigation and prosecution. That would be a wonderful thing.
Will that be possible? My point is, can we really think a leader is going to emerge that can do that? Because all the leaders seem to be thinking with the current flow of, hey, shall I get what you can get? You never know. It's very sad, but that seems to be the contemporary intelligence, if I might put it that way.
You see what, you know what is my worry? Now, I am not interested in a military coup d'etat. I've seen them. They never solve a problem. Recently, one general made a statement. I'm talking about General Nunu Mensah. He's alive.
Yeah.
I said, the way we are going, we should be careful that somebody worse than Rawlings doesn't come on the stage. This is a serious statement. Now, if you have lived in this country and known exactly, the general has been, mind you, he was twice chief of defense staff. He's an experienced person, both in age and work. He knows what he's talking about. He's run a government before. You follow me? So such cases, you don't throw them out. There was a time this same general, see, there are a lot of things you guys don't know. Himself and another, I think he is the eldest we have, eldest surviving general called General Ashley Larson. You might have heard the name. He was in a Champions government. He is a pilot by profession. He's alive. They made an attempt to talk to Akufo-Addo. By then, the situation in the country was such bad. And this was told to me by the general himself. So they want to advise the head of state how to go about certain things so that we don't revisit what had happened in this country before. Akufo-Addo never saw them. He never saw them. And he asked his head of security to see them. They are generals, they are not ordinary people. Naturally, they won't go. The experience that Francis Poku has got, Kandapa hasn't got 1/3 of it. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. Because without Francis Poku, our government, which I serve in, under Kufuor, would never have lasted.
Francis
Poku,
Poku,
who was once a national security
yeah. He held the fort.
Francis Poku has the experience. They were those properly trained. Look, he had experience. When we came to power under Kufuor, this country was full of arms everywhere. You know, just after Jerry John Rawlings, almost everyone was holding a gun. The way and manner he went about collecting the guns was so wonderful. And a lot of other instances. That's an experienced security man. They were trained on that then special branch. You follow me? Now, here, as we sit down now, everybody calls himself a national security officer. You know what I'm saying is true. Everybody at all. Even have you seen Francis Poku before?
I happen to know him, so
Yeah.
I saw him at the party. Yeah. But you don't see him anywhere.
You will never
No.
see in public. That's a good intelligence officer. You will never see. Let alone those who work under him. Unless they are going to have an operation, they come and disclose themselves to you. Never. But not anybody. Even people hire them to go and cause mayhem. How can a nation be run this way? Look at the state of our economy now, too. Everybody is crying. Everybody is crying.
And based on everything you've said, especially give me an example of Brima who...
Jay Brima.
Yeah. And Aban who said, I won't do what you...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What is your assessment of the Vice when he says, I wasn't a part of this? So now give me the chance so that I can prove to you that I will be different if I am put in charge.
That's interesting. You see, there was a time in history when General Patton of America, U.S. Army. We wanted to use brutal force to do something. And it was redirected by the then president not to go that way. If you are working with the head of state, you are his vice. If he does something that you disagree, I believe what you do is take your pen and paper and resign. That is the culture of resignation. That is the example I gave you earlier on about Kwabena Bonsu. We don't have that. We don't have that. Black man hasn't got the culture of resignation. It happens all the time in the Western world. You know it. When I resigned as chairman of the Ghana Football Association, Yasafo Manfo was then my minister. He thought I was joking. I had an argument in his office. Kwesi Nyantechi was there. He was my deputy. Fred Papo and Dr. Amoa. You know him?
I know.
I got furious, banged his office door at the ministry. He's alive, you can ask him. And walk out. Went straight to the clinic, wrote my letter, gave it to my driver to be brought to them. Elizabeth Ohini was then Minister of State. She acknowledged it and thanked me. How many people can do it? You see, you must have that culture. You don't think about, if I resign, people will be thinking, why should I do that? What am I going to eat? Blah, 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 blah. No, such people cannot lead the nation. And they should never get close to power. People with that culture of resignation should never get close to power.
And on that note, let me take a short commercial break and come back. And when we come back, it will continue. People with that culture should not take a position. We'll be right back.
The KSM Show.
Is it the luxurious rooms? Or the serene green surroundings? Is it the tempting swimming pool? Or the classy conference room? Or the cute gift shop? Maybe it's our chef's array of cooking delights. Whichever way, it's all about Cactus Creek. A most respected hotel. 055 039 5007.
Hi, my name is Angela Metal, a massage therapist at Cactus Creek. My job is simply to pamper you with the 3 R's, to relax you, to revitalize you, and to rejuvenate you. Come and let me pamper you.
055 039 5007.
Most of you are loving my jacket. Mr. Sao, I am if rough. The jacket is provided by KSM Essentials. So if you want some, this is the number to call.
0247 661983.
So call KSM and get yourself a pretty decent jacket.
The KSM Show.
We're back. And let me repeat the line on which we took the commercial break. He said, anyone without a culture of resignation should not come close to power. And isn't that something that we have to contend with now? I'm thinking the new generation of people who are coming in, who are looking for power, don't have that culture.
We haven't got it.
You know, we don't have that culture.
No.
And so the term resignation is such an alien term in this
Exactly.
country now.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
And I think that's why even people like the vice president can say, I didn't like it, I was opposed to this, that, blah, 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 but never resigned because
Exactly.
you have to be in tune with your party. What do you
And-
think
and-
about
and to have a culture of resignation, you must think first and foremost about your name.
your
Your name, the name you write. Very important. The sort of family you come from. And the political party that you are in. And its principles. When you know that you are right, and then a leader tells you, go this way, you take your pen and leave. It happens all the time in the US, in Britain.
Unfortunately, in Africa,
That's why I say we're having the golden culture. That's why.
You know, I'm looking at a situation where things have degraded so much that even those who have the visibility to stand out are people who in other generations would have been called maybe morons. Excuse my harsh language. But there are people now who are like in positions of power, either it is a regional chairman or a regional whatever, and you look at the caliber of the person and you wonder, is this the best we have? What's your comment on that, that this is now a generational problem?
I'll give you an example.
Yeah, please.
Recently, not quite long ago, about 80 MPs from my party wrote a letter to the president demanding the resignation of the the then finance minister. First was a press this thing. I saw it on the telly live. I was not shocked. I said, it appears our boys are getting stronger.
You were shocked or not shocked?
I was not shocked.
You're not shocked.
I just comforted myself that it appears our boys are getting stronger because it's something that has not happened under Akufo-Addo. And people have been crying that this man is just messing as well, he should be removed. And it doesn't bother anybody. So you know what I did? I don't know any of them. I have not met. The only person I think among them that I saw that I knew was one Antwi. Their leader, I don't know him. He's a lawyer. I will get the names we mentioned. Apia Kubi. I looked for Apia Kubi's phone number and called him. I'm saying this because this is a live program. If he lies, he can deny it. And say, young man, firstly, let me congratulate you. You've shown what we call useful exuberance wisely. But let me warn you that the Akufo-Addo that I know, don't allow him to call you and talk you back. This is the word that I use. In less than 2-3 hours, they were called. And that was the end of that move. Akufo-Addo spoke with them, and that was the end of that move. But I knew it would happen. He's alive, you can ask him. I said, don't allow this man to talk you back. So you withdraw your... But he did. And I warned him. You couldn't say that I didn't warn him.
Is this the reality of contemporary politics, that everybody should be whipped into line and think in a certain direction that they are whipped to think in? Is this the New Deal?
Not at all. That the democracy that I understand doesn't say so. At all.
But the question is, the democracy that is in vogue now, is it the democracy that you and I understand, or that Basa's next station, democracy is now a controlled sort of mechanism to whip people in line?
I don't think so. That's what at times also is so sad. Those who practice democracy, those I will call the fathers of democracy, if you watch, they resign. Recently in Britain, how many ministers haven't you got? The Prime Minister haven't you got? Within a short period. So it cannot be something that is so much attached to if a political party goes that way, it can never call itself a democratic party. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It can never.
And my suggestion, and maybe I'm wrong, is that what we perceive to be democracy or the Democratic Party, democratic practice, is not what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think it's totally different.
What we are practicing now is a sham.
Yeah.
There's no democracy.
Okay.
You see, democracy where the judiciary is not free. I'm saying this, I don't care what happens. The judiciary is not free. We say it. We are not kids in this country. You follow me? The police service is not free. I'll put the armed forces aside because they are really not part of us. You follow me? And then when you go to the ministries itself, what you see there is dishonesty. So where is the democracy? I think you follow me.
Yeah, I'm following you.
And the worst thing is that the leader cannot whip them into line. Nkrumah did something some years ago when I was a kid. I think I was in secondary school then, if I can remember. Look, Krobwe Eduse, you know Krobwe Eduse? Eduse Mok. He built a house at Ridge area. The place is now, they have put up high-rising buildings there. In fact, I've stayed in that house before as a soldier. But eventually the house was taken away from him. Krobwe built a house, a mansion, swimming pool. In those days, swimming pool, anything, tennis court, you know. And named the house Asante House. You can go into archives. Kwame Nkrumah heard about it. Not him alone. Kojobo Show did the same thing. Where you now call a hotel, the name of the hotel, somewhere in the same ridge area. Kojobo Show built a massive house there. So was Bedema. People he started with who had what we call Adidome farms. Nkrumah sacked all of them. Can you believe it? And took over the properties. Kobo House was seized. Whether eventually it will release to him, that I can't tell. So also was Kojobo Sio. And then K. Bedema, who was the first finance minister. In my previous discussion with you, I made mention of him. They were the key lieutenants of Nkrumah. Yet when he went wrong, Kwame said, no, you can't do that. Can we have that today? That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, yeah. And I perfectly understand. My point, and maybe it's a defeatist attitude, is that unfortunately, as Americans say, the bus has left the station. That era where men and women of integrity who considered what their name was before they did things, that era no longer exists. Or you think there can be a leader who can bring that era back?
I think a good leader can bring that out. I'm telling you. A good leader can bring that out. A good leader can bring that out.
Speaking of a good leader,
You follow me? And when you talk of such a person, you are thinking about a selfless person who has a nation at heart. He has a vision. He knows exactly what he wants for the country. Lee Kuan Yew did it. Kwame Nkrumah was about to do it.
So looking at the stock of leaders who are aspiring for the leadership role right now, presidency, are there any of them that you look at and say, this person might at least come close to what we are talking about in terms of selflessness and taking decisions actively and following up on? Is there anybody that you see among the lot so far?
Well, what you are saying is interesting. Most of them, I don't know them.
Okay.
So I really cannot comment on
Yeah.
them. And also the new ones who have been showing their faces, I personally don't trust any of them.
You don't trust them?
No.
Can you name them? What are the new ones you don't trust?
Well, that's why I say I listen to them, but really I don't know them. You follow me? Because we have instances quite recently. We have a group of people who surface when we are going to have national elections because they know they will get money out of it. They go to the political parties, the leading political, even the opposition party, to get money.
Yeah. It's
Apart
only,
from
it's
the-
only during presidential elections that they show
Exactly.
up. Yeah.
Apart from the fact that the state will give them some money to organize. How can such a person be a leader? You tell me. Huh? And not quite long ago, this story of, is it Nam1 or whatever you call it? We saw it here in this country. He took the whole nation for a ride. And people believed in him, including government officials. Where he was even given state jets to ride. How did he end? So as I sit down here, my gray hair that you see is a gray hair, proper gray hair. It's not artificial gray hair. You follow me?
It was the end.
Yes, I earn it. That is our biggest problem. Until we get a leader who would think about this nation. Very important. The leader must have think about the youth. How do you handle the youth? How do you handle our health sector? How do you handle our agriculture sector? It's not a question of just trying to make money for yourself. Apart from the fact that you are paid properly, you have all these amenities around. What else do you want? So if your interest is not for the ordinary person, then you can't lead.
What do you say about we, the people who vote, and the leader comes and says this and that, and based on what they have said, no matter how empty the promises are, we latch onto them and we vote. What message should we send to the people regarding their voting habits? Because they say the leaders are representative, they represent what the people are, you know? So the leaders are a reflection of the kind of people that we have in Ghana. So what should the people know? Because
that is another interesting statement you've made. Until the Ghanaian the ordinary Ghanaian like me and you will not vote on ethnocentrism. Listen to me carefully. We will not vote on ethnocentrism, but we will vote on the performance and principles of political party. This nation will never move. I'm telling you. But that's the only way you can remove a bad government. That's the only way you punish a bad government, by voting against somebody who is from your own political party. You follow me?
Yeah.
If you feel the person is not competent, he can't run the country, say it and vote against him. That's the only way you can change it. If you want your condition to be better, to change. You follow me? It happens in all the civilized countries. Recently we saw it in the US. Just about getting to 8 years ago, who has ever sat down to think that Trump can be removed so easily? He was removed. And he was trying to steal the votes, a president. But the American system is not like here. And in that particular case, he is in court because of that. Can that happen here? So until the individual Ghanaian will say, will not think, oh, this is my what do you call it, my tribesman, or this is my this thing. Let me vote on my conscience, what he can do or what he's be able to do for me. Until we start doing that, this nation will never move.
Isn't it scary that we won't start doing that for I don't know how long? Because still, I think the majority of the Ghanaians, the way we vote is very tribal, very either tribal or religious. It has nothing to do with competence. Competence is the last in the equation, you know.
I will tell you one thing. Through my own observation, this day I don't see myself belonging to any political party. I just observe situations as they are. Through my own observation, I think for once it will change. And listen to me carefully. If it changes and somebody else wants to give us a different result, we shall end up like Justice Aban case. You remember Justice Aban's case?
Justice Aban, during the NRC referendum time.
Who a champion wanted him to declare
the results of the
referendum, which
I think no one, but a champion wanted to declare that yes has won. Yeah.
And he has to jump a wall. And that was the beginning of the removal of a champion from power. After Aban, Kutu didn't stop there. Kutu is a champion. He went and brought in a gentleman by the name Magrani Kwe. You see, you're supposed to know all these things because it's very important. Put him there, somebody who can sing his voice. And the man really did that. And came out with a different result, favoring a champion. But for the standings of his own colleagues, the generals who took over power, and some of them lost their lives. But for them, we would have been in the same position. When I was a young officer in the military, 5 Battalion of Infantry, I took 5 Battalion of Infantry as a doctor to the Middle East in 1976. By then, our commander was called Colonel Abana. Some of the best officers you can get. An officer you love to serve because they are straight to the point and very strict. We were there when we had a visit from a member of government in the person of Colonel Roger Feli. I'm sure you might have heard the name. Roger Feli. He was a military man.
Yeah.
He later became Commissioner of Foreign Affairs. He's a gentleman, cool person, very young. I think he was about 37. I think it was either himself or Joe Amedume. One of them was so young when they killed them. Ferry, with career diplomats, crossed the Suez Canal and came to us on the Sinai Desert. What did he come there for? To talk to the troops that government feels there's something that is called union government. This is how the referendum came. And it is only through union government that this nation can move forward. First, he briefed the men. The men are the soldiers. And he came and briefed the officers who were there with him at the mess. He asked, gentlemen, any question? Nobody asked a question. But I got up and said, Roger, sir, in the mess you can call your officer by the first name. Of course, with respect. Roger said, I don't believe we were commissioned to rule civilians. He kept quiet. He's a very calm gentleman. And then he laughed and said, Nyaho, the world has changed. Unfortunately, when they were running up generals to kill, Feli was included. So pathetic. Yeah. And you know why? For tribal balance. You see, that's why when governments are misbehaving and they are told and they don't listen, it worries some of us. Ferry have not stolen anything. He has not taken anything.
But the number of people that were being executed,
absolutely.
they had to add them to
absolutely.
There was
nobody from the north.
So they added them.
Yes. This is what young people should know. This sort of coming to argue for a political party foolishly when the party is going wrong, is being led by wrong people wrongly. And the young man will come and argue, call himself, what is it, communication, what do you call them? Communicator or whatever they are. They should start thinking as young people who have got future before them. When a leader is not leading well, he has to go through the ballot box. So that was why Feli died. A nice-looking young man.
They needed a representative from the north to be.
Yes. Because when they rounded all the people, they got all the regions. From the north, nobody.
I hear Kutuka went because Utuka was
Utuka from the voter region.
Yeah.
Amedume from the voter region. Yabuachi from Ashanti region. Afrifa from Ashanti region. And then who else? Who has died? Akufu.
Kufu.
From Akwapim. You see, when things happen and people don't sit down to think about it, it's so, especially when it has happened before and you see the signs moving about or the signals showing itself.
With the background that you're from, or the military, you've been everywhere, civilian, everything. And this is what is said many times that, because of the nature or the structure of our army, we shouldn't expect this kind of, if you will, coup issue. Are we safe? Can we breathe easy now and say we're at the point where the ballot box is the one that's going to be respected and that's what we're sticking with?
Maybe we shall go strictly. You see, the army is a fine institution, very fine institution that has been destroyed by politicians. I'll say that without any fear of favor.
The army has been destroyed by politicians?
Totally. It's a fine institution. I've been a soldier before. It's a fine first-class institution. You learn a lot from them. A lot when you are a genius.
How have the politicians managed to destroy the army?
No. Don't tell me you don't know what they call protocol list. I mean, you see, these things are, they are happening. Protocol list. Putting people into the armed forces. That will never happen. I gave you an example in our previous conversation. How we recruited soldiers.
To balance the...
To balance that. We went to all the regional capitals. We didn't go to one region to pick soldiers. So if that is not put right, that will be another serious problem for this nation. It's so sad. It's so sad.
So in our closing minutes, your word of advice based on everything you're saying, what your fears are, what the future holds, what one or two things would you leave us with to think and ponder over, seriously ponder over?
I think I'll come back to the same statement I've been making all the time in my previous interviews with various TV and radio stations. If this country will move forward as a democratic country, it will depend on journalists.
Journalists?
I'm telling you. Because if the wrongs of governments are exposed by journalists vehemently, there will be no problem in this country. Because as we sit down now, we have newspapers who told only government lie.
Yeah.
And that is dangerous. I have a friend who is doing that now. He wasn't like that before. I won't mention his name. He knows himself. He wasn't like that before. The vim he had in those days to criticize military regimes, what he's doing now surprises me, and to me is a huge shame to him. Well, he wasn't like that before. And I don't believe, but if it's so, I don't believe he could be influenced with money. But if that has happened, and that is why he's behaving like that, then I will say shame unto him. Yes. If journalists would really be right, because they are those who are able to get the information and bring it out the way it is.
And when they don't, then... Okay.
So I keep on saying the same thing. And I'm glad I've ended up in our discussion with you on the same topic. Because U.S. governments are put in line by journalists.
Yeah.
The same in Britain. You follow me? We have the legislature, we have the executive, and we have the judiciary. The fourth role should be the role of the journalists.
I remember somebody saying, and I will never forget, he says the journalists are the fourth estate.
Yes.
And he said, when the fourth estate becomes the fourth arm of government, we're headed towards anarchy. That's what you're talking about.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's a clear sign to anarchy, and clear way to anarchy. And that's what we are in now. Newspapers refusing to come out with the writing. And the worst, the so-called communicators on televisions and radio. It's so pathetic. Defending the indefensible. And when I see most of them, they are young people. Yeah. That's what disturbs me. Let an old rag go and sit down there and talk.
Young people paying good money, which is have become a thing now. Yeah.
They won't even think about their future. Yeah. You see a nation being run down. And then you go and defend.
Yeah. And like you're saying, the saddest part of it is that it's the younger generation who should be worried about the future that we are leaving them with,
Exactly.
who are actually defending.
Exactly.
It's so sad.
Exactly.
And
That's what really disturbs me, the younger generation.
yeah,
The younger generation, because they should, you see, they should sit down. I would say they are better educated. Sit down and reason carefully. And then know that this particular subject that I'm asked to talk about is not the right way I'm talking about it.
well, I'd like to say a big thank you to Dr. Nyaho Nyaho-Tamakloe. This has been such an engaging experience. Doc, you have no idea how much education I have gotten from listening to you. Massive. And these are things I'm so glad I had the opportunity to have this interview. All I can say is a big thank you.
Thank you too.
Because I know that as I believe I have learned a lot and I've been seriously educated, so too are many of the viewers who have listened to you today, you know. And I almost feel that there's a need to do a documentary on this experience. So if you hear me knocking your door again, I'm coming so that we can concentrate on this, you know, and then also learn from your rich experience. You know, you know, I said when I was coming, I was going to ask, oh, how come a founding member of the MPP was praising me for a stand I took on Nkrumah? And then as I was walking and looking at the pictures, I started understanding the personality I was coming to see.
Yeah, you can see.
Yeah, we have pictures with Rollins, we have Kufuor, with Mahama,
with Mahama, with Sharabutu.
Yes.
Yes, everybody is here.
Wow.
Everybody.
Wow.
So that should tell you exactly the same.
Yeah, as I was answering my question myself, saying, that's why he believes in Ghana. He's a nationalist, and that's the top of his priority. Is Ghana, and not the tribe.
No, not at all.
You know.
Not at all. During the time of Kwame Nkrumah, when we were very small boys and young people, nobody knew exactly where he came from. Because nobody talks about tribal.
Who cares?
Nobody. And Nkrumah was able to mix us together so beautifully. Even look at the intermarriage that we have in this country. So, you know, this sort of tribal affiliations unnecessary, projecting one tribe, I mean, it just destroys. That's what I would say. It destroys the building of a good nation.
Yeah.
Who talks about tribalism in America?
Yeah.
Even in Britain, they have their differences, but they don't discuss certain things. But here, in our case, there are people who have made up their mind that that is what they will pursue. And I have said it, that any group of people, be then, what do you call it, religious group, chiefs, politicians, or whatever they are, who think they can use tribalism to destroy this country, they are telling lies. They will destroy themselves.
Yeah. They will destroy themselves.
They will destroy themselves.
Yeah.
Mark my words. But this country is so interwoven.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. And on that note, what else can we see, man? Any leader who thinks that can use tribe and religion and these things to destroy the nation will end up destroying themselves. And that came from Dr. Nyaho Nyaho-Tamakloe. We thank you very much.
Oh, thank you
It's
too.
been a great experience and looking great and fantastic at 80.
82. I'll
Hey, my goodness!
in May 7th, I'll be
82.
Yeah.
Shout out love, man. So in the meantime, between time, folks, we are out of. Let the whole world say, yeah.
KSM Show.